Pleasure.
No.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. And tonight, Anthony wants to talk to us about something, and I'm very excited because what is it, man? I've been biting my nose all week long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What?
it's not
What's
a
that
secret.
secret?
We've been talking about it all week.
Oh, have we? What is it? What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about the buy box.
Oof, the buy box. You know what buy box is, bruh?
What's that?
We're going to talk about what investors use in order to criteria that they use to decipher which properties they want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are using, cash flows. They want to have a certain cash flow. Some people want a certain value on a property. They want equity.
Different types of properties.
Yeah, and there's also, and what I want to kind of discuss is get your guys' take on this too. But we talk to investors all the time, but I want to see your guys' feedback today, and we can discuss it about what some strategies you guys personally take. We can discuss what we see, how investors are looking at deals and seeing whether they want to move on them or not. Mm-hmm. And because out there, everybody says, oh, it's got to be a 10 cap. And it's got to be this perfect burr, and we know that's not a reality all the time.
Yeah,
That's very true. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what's a buy box? What does that mean?
But I was just explaining. It's it's your criteria. So we got to fit it in the box.
Oh, okay.
Each property has to check certain boxes or fit into a box based on your criteria as an investor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because that's not Bailey. That's Jimbo.
That's Jumbo.
Jumbo.
You're Jimbo.
Well, Jimbo can be whoever he wants.
Not Dumbo, Jimbo.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's a buy box. It's like the specific criteria that you are looking for. You don't just buy anything. You don't tell people, well, I don't know if you do, but some people are like, hey, don't send me everything. I only buy this.
Right,
okay?
exactly.
I only buy lots, or I only buy multifamily complexes, or I only buy single family homes. And it could get like very, what's the word? It could get like very, very convoluted. Not convoluted, but you can like deep dive down onto it. You can say like, you know what? I only do single family homes that are below 200,000 that I only have to do about 50,000 or less in repair costs.
Yeah, in this area.
In this specific area
Right.
within this neighborhood. And it has to have minimum these many doors.
Yeah, or somebody will be like, I just want to buy in this area, this whole area. I'll buy anything that's in, between this street and this street.
Or a zip code or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a buy box?
Yeah. Well, I think Next Level has a buy box.
What's the buy box?
Well, if we're
Spill the
looking,
beans.
well, it depends on what we're looking to do with the property. If we're talking about a flip, which a lot of people like to talk about because it looks sexy,
Uh-huh.
So on a flip, we like to take on projects that don't need, for the most part, unless it's certain situations, we like to take on properties that don't need like a complete renovation. What I mean by complete renovation, like it's just studs and there's no drywall, no insulation. We've done projects like that, but they have to be pretty good deals for us to do.
Like you don't want demo work that's like deep. You don't want to be breaking down walls. You don't want to be rebuilding anything.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we do. It's just like if it's like let's say a project where you can literally see from one end of the house to the other because it's all sticks and stuff. I mean,
You're like, nah.
Yeah, not as much. We can, and we have in the past, but that's kind of our buy box. Anything like 3-bed, 2-bath, something that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Nothing super unique.
Okay.
Just kind of.
And is that where kind of like the term lipstick comes from, where some people say like, I just want a lipstick flip,
Yeah.
a lipstick property, because lipstick is something you just boom, boom, you apply and that's it. It's nothing too crazy.
I think ours isn't really based on the amount, like the lipstick in general. It has to do with the time and the energy that we have to spend in that property. So we don't, because we see so many properties. We pass on a lot. So we'll see it. No, you know what? Pass. Good deal. We're just gonna pass. And we get it to our investors or partners on it, and we end up working on it, but not directly on it. Where we're devoting our time, our energy to that property, because that's kind of the buy box. The buy box, and Bailey kind of alluded to it. It's something that doesn't require a major renovation, although we've done them. it's just, it has to do with time. A lot of it has to do with time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the time invested, if there's more time, more margin has to be made. If it's less time, less energy that goes into it, we're okay with taking, a little bit less.
And I mean, it has to be a pretty steep deal to do that. So,
So buy boxes are very, very fast, So we're going to try and do our best to talk as many buy boxes as we can on this episode. And if we don't get through all of them, that's okay. We'll just continue on another episode. Because this topic is very vast, man. There's so many different types of buy boxes, so many different criteria. But I want to start off with this one. And at first, it seemed like it was what everybody was saying and was doing. But then we kind of realized very quickly it's not that good of a buy box because it might pigeonhole you or it might keep you from good opportunities. And that's when people say, I need to buy this property. It needs to be at 70% ARV minus repairs.
right. Yeah.
What do you guys think of that one? That was like the most common one, but now I'm not seeing that as much.
Yeah. I find it very interesting when people just use strict numbers based off of, I think it needs to be looked at from property to property. You can use that as a general rule of thumb. So if that doesn't pass like the quick, 70% rule test, I mean, then they pass. But some people use it as a hard rule where they're sticking to that number and they're like, yep, if I'm not making this X amount of dollars. But let me tell you, like, what happens if it's something that's super easy,
Right.
nice, easy flip, and you don't have to invest as much time, as much energy into that property, as much money, but you make less, and you could do 2 of those for the time that you do your 70%, flip rule. So that's where I have a hard time with stuff like that, is that I think sometimes we have to explain it to people. Well, like, this is a quick one, you're going to be done with this in a month, where is the 70% rule, and you're still going to make, let's just say 20% on it. You're not going to make 30% on it.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I have a hard time with it. But what's interesting, I will let me talk about this for a second.
Well, before you say that, I just wanted to say,
Okay.
that's perfect. I'm glad you bring that up. And I want to bring up some vocabulary. So ARV, after rehab value, that is what the property is worth once you've done all the repairs and it's on the market. That's what ARV is. It's what the house could potentially be worth after all the repairs. And I'm so glad you brought up saying like, hey, I don't really like that because in the time that it might take you to get your one property that's 70% ARV minus repairs, you could maybe do 2 quick ones that don't meet that criteria, but they can still make you some money that could either make you as much as that one property did or more.
Exactly.
And the first thing that came into my head is ROI, return on investment.
Right.
So would you say that it's king to go for the properties that return your investment faster?
Exactly. Well, it just depends on the person's buy box again. And some people, they just want one property and they want to go slow. So that's fine for them. But if somebody's just out, it's like, I want to turn my money. Bailey calls it the velocity of money. Mm-hmm. So it's the time that you can turn your money. And the quicker you can turn it, same amount of money, whether it's, in 6 months you turn that same $30,000, you can turn, maybe 3 deals at, 20,000, and you're making 60 instead of the 30. So that's the velocity of money that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, and did I use ROI correctly? Return on investment? Is that what that is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So velocity of money, cash conversion cycle. It's all decision based. Going back to that 70% rule. I mean, I don't like the rule because it's always case by case, like Anthony was saying. It depends on the amount of repairs that it needs. It depends on what you want to do after the fact. It depends on how fast you can get it done. So there's so many factors that go into deciding whether something's a deal. So the 70% rule, not a huge fan of.
Yeah, I mean, say you're like, oh, I'll take that property because it meets that rule, but I want to know how long it's going to take me. Yeah. I want to see the size of the project, because if I'm going to devote my time and energy into that property to make that amount of money, I might, it meets that rule, but I might want a bigger return on it because I'm spending more time on it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you should keep it proportional, right? If you're going to put so much time into that property, it meets your rule, 70% rule, and minus the repair cost, but it's going to take you almost a year or half a year to make that flip happen. but you're only going to be making, I don't know, let's say you're making like 20,000 or whatever on it. It's probably not a really good find, you know?
I mean, and sometimes you got to do it if you have a crew. I mean, so that might change if you have a crew that you got guys that you got to keep busy. You might have to take different, flips or different projects
True.
that you don't really want to, or necessarily, but that's the best option at the time.
Another reason why you got to look into the time that it's going to take you to sell the property is if it takes you way too long, the numbers can change, man.
Oh yeah,
The value
that's
of the
huge.
property could either work in your favor and the value of the
No,
property
I
increases,
100% agree on that.
or it could decrease, and now you're
caught with
making
your
less.
pants down.
Yeah, you're caught with your pants down. And as we said, I don't remember what episode of the podcast we said, but we said what matters most, man, the number that does not change is the number you acquired the property for.
Exactly.
That's the most important number,
I
is
think-
what you acquired it for.
Yeah, if you don't get anything out of this podcast, that's wisdom right there. I definitely believe I believe in that, what you just said, but also time. I mean, you just don't, the markets fluctuate
Yeah.
like we've never seen in the past couple years. This last year, certain people are just getting a lot pickier. The deals got to be a lot more solid. They got to be a lot more completed and finished. So yeah, you can definitely lose by buying properties based on the time.
Another buy box I want to bring up, and kind of like, because it's all a balancing act, right? It's there's a saying that it's I think it goes like this. Oh fuck, I don't remember. It's about, don't be an extremist, or don't lean too much of one thing could be bad,
Mm-hmm.
and if you
Too much of a good thing.
too much of a good thing could be bad, or just don't be an extremist. Don't go into just one belief or one thing, and that's 100% what you believe in, because it could keep you blindsided or keep cave vision you.
Yeah, I
or-
think there's some flexibility that you need to have. You need to adjust with the times.
Yep, and one of the buy boxes I want to bring up is, or just not buy boxes, but when people go like, you know what, I don't do no buy and hold. I only do flips. Strictly do flips, and that's it. Don't send me any buy and hold properties. But I think you should still take a look at it. And the reason why is because we've learned on one of the episodes how powerful BRRRRs can be. And it's the minimum time is the time it takes you to flip plus 6 months to refinance. And if maybe calculate how much money would you be able to cash out on a property. And let's say it takes 10 months. 4 to do the flip, 6 to, after you're done flipping, you find a tenant, and then you refinance in 10 months. And if you do a refinance and then compare that amount of money that you can cash out to how many properties you have to flip to get there.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can run those can run in conjunction. The time that you bought it, the rehab, and the time that passes by to do the refinance. I mean, that can run in conjunction. So 6 months.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't even have to be 10 months.
No.
It could be, oh, okay. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
you don't have to add them together. But
That's even better.
But that's to your point. I see where you're going with that. To your point, yeah, that's definitely. But I think you need to mix it up. I think you need to have a healthy balance, especially if you're going to be a quote unquote investor.
Like in a diet, you want a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have the flips. You want to make sure you do some buy and holds. I mean, that's a strategic move that everybody should should be working on, because, I mean, that's buying real estate. If you believe in real estate in the long term, I mean, that's the path to wealth. You can get rich flipping, but unless you're investing that money, it's a job. It's just a job. That's all it is. It becomes a job, and instead of creating yourself some wealth.
Yeah, and it depends on what people's goals are. Some people just don't want to be landlords. They don't
Yeah.
want to do BRRRR.
That's
So
true.
you can use that money to invest in other places where maybe you want to create wealth. So it just depends on what your goals are.
Could it be used strategically though? Like, hey, my sole goal is just to do a BRRRR, and then that's pretty much it. After I get my BRRRR out, can I get rid of the property?
Get rid of it? What do you mean?
Can I
Sell
sell
it?
it
Of course, yeah, you can always sell the property.
and just get your BRRRR out and like, hey, okay, I got my BRRRR. I made my money on it. I don't want to be a landlord no more. Is that possible, or is it not advisable?
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have just sold it. I mean, I get it for maybe the tax benefits, and then wait a little bit, and then sell it at that time.
Okay.
But it's all time and energy at that point. So I would always recommend keeping it because they're paying that free money that you got.
Mm-hmm.
Because to a BRRRR, to me, you get your money back. You want to do something else with that money. So you go pay that loan out that you took when you BRRR'd it. For what? You paid it off, and now you got your cash back.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't. It's not a great exit strategy
Gotcha.
that I would use.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the industry, you hear it all the time. Especially some of the OGs are like, "I wish I would have kept every property I could when I
100%.
When I started." But here's the thing: is when you start, let's say you start flipping or assigning contracts, whichever one, you can't, especially at the beginning, sometimes you can't keep the properties. You have to do that to keep the capital in marketing and keep the business going. But as you grow, you can make those decisions on which ones you want to keep.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's more like an exit strategy, not really what you're buying. It's kind of like what you're going to do once you have it.
Ooh, that's awesome. You guys just like made me come up with an idea or reminded me of something. This guy was like, what's the difference between successful rich people and average people that aren't that successful, don't make that much money? And let's take a look at the people's assets. Jimmy only has his job, and that's it. That's his only asset. But this guy, he has his job, he has his real estate properties, he has his stock portfolio and stuff like that. So it's all about having a diverse portfolio and having multiple assets. You don't just want to do buy and hold because that's your only asset. That's the only money income that you're getting. But you don't want to do just flips because then that's also your only asset as well. You want multiple assets. So maybe it's okay to have some rentals for that long term, for that asset of long term, and then doing flips as well at the same time to have that cash coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I recommend, a nice healthy blend of stuff. Obviously, you got to keep liquid to be able to keep buying. I think that's the difficulty when you can't wrap all your money up. It takes a long time. You feel like you're going to pass out on different opportunities. So I think that's just all an exit strategy and how you got to move your money. Mm-hmm. But the buy box, a lot of the time, going back to buy box, right? I think it just depends on identifying a goal. So I was just envisioning this podcast and is kind of thinking, if I had, let's just say, unlimited amount of money. Say I had, $10 million, not unlimited, but it's a good healthy amount, and I had 10 million. What would I put my money in? How do I optimize my cash? Do I want to have properties that I have a lot of potential for equity?
Ooh.
But they're not cash flowing a lot? Or do I, am I in a position where I need the cash flow? Am I older and I don't have, and I'm no longer working, or I quit my job, so I need that cash flow? So I need properties that cash flow from day one, because that's what I'm relying on for my income and my family. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the times that's what you really need to identify. And so I just ran into a lady today, and she's like, well, that property, it's not good cash flowing. It's not a good cash on cash return. And so I broke it down with her, and she's like, boy, it's the cap rate's only, it's not 10%. I'm like, it's 7.5. And she's like, yeah, they told me like, that's not good. It needs to be 10. I said, who's they? Mm-hmm. And, and it can be, if that's your standard, don't, by all means. And I told her, I said, by all means, if that's what you want, by all means, don't change that. But if you're looking for properties, she's like, yeah, I can't find any properties. Well, if you're looking for the 10% cap rate, you're gonna look for a little bit. It's gonna be real patient. You might buy one property a year.
It's very unique. You're looking for something very, very unique.
You're looking for something everybody wants.
Yeah. Unicorn.
Yeah, unicorn. So they exist. Unicorns do exist.
Low supply, high demand.
Yeah, but it's a super high demand. And so, in Phoenix, you're buying brand new buildings. They're doing like 3% cap rate. So I don't think 10% cap rates on the market. I haven't seen one in a long time.
Cop some of those Pegasi.
Pick a side. So how did you break it down for her? How did you show her, like, okay, this might not be the 10% cap rate, it's 7.5, but how did you show her that it's still a good investment opportunity, that it still could be a good investment opportunity?
Well, I told her there's different strategy on this particular property. There was different strategies. Like, you can make it a 10% property, but it's going to take a lot more work. How can you make How can you make a bigger cap rate out of property?
Well,
You need more what? You need to either increase the income, right,
you need to increase the income.
or reduce the expenses.
Yeah.
Most of the times, you can't reduce the expenses.
So you got to increase the income. And the way you do that, well, it's got to justify it.
Well, the way you do it is you could do different things. You could rent it furnished. You could you could shorten the terms so that you generate more money per month
Oh, okay.
instead of a long term unfurnished rental like 1 year, 2 year leases.
Short-term
You
furnished.
do the short term, or you can do Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
So you can increase it, but what does that take? It takes more time,
Energy.
Absolutely. So I told her, I said, you could definitely get it there. You can get a lot of properties there, but if we're just talking about long term rentals, it's going to be it's going to be hard to find those.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what's crazy about it, this property actually, at 7.5%, it was probably a real conservative cap rate. She could definitely push the limits on it, depending on, you can make the property in a better condition. You can rent, so then therefore you can rent it out for more money. So I explained it to her, and then there was the X factor.
Mm-hmm.
The X factor is the equity that she had in the property. She was buying it below market. So yeah, maybe it didn't have the 10%, but you could buy a 10% cash flowing, but you could pay top dollar. You have no equity. You have no equity on it.
Do you know the numbers? Could we calculate the equity that she's getting on day one or not?
We can use let's just use some round numbers.
Okay.
Say you're buying a property for $350,000.
250,000.
Yeah. So let's explain how to calculate cap rate.
Yeah. What is equity?
So equity or cap rate? Let's calculate
okay.
cap rate.
Let's do cap rate first.
What's cap rate?
You know cap rate.
I know, but I'm asking for the viewers. What's cap rate?
Okay. So cap rate, capitalization rates, you're going to take your net income and divide it by the price that you paid. So the money that it's giving you on a yearly basis,
Mm-hmm. Your yearly net income.
your yearly net income, divided by how much money you put in the property in order to get that income.
The total cost.
The total cost.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
say you buy a property for, let's just say $300,000, and you put $50,000 into it just to say you had to fix it up.
Okay, and then 50,000. So 350,000 is your total
350,000.
costs.
Right. So that's your total cost that you put into the property. So say you rent a property out for $1,500 a month.
$1,500 a month in a year, that is $18,000 a year.
Okay, but first we need to subtract out because that's gross income.
We want our net.
We need net income.
Minus $200 a month, or $100.
Well, let's just use round numbers. Let's say $100 for insurance. Let's say taxes are $150 a month.
Okay.
$100, $150, $250.
$250.
All right, and say you pay the water.
Okay, that's like about $150.
Let's just say you have another $100.
Another $100. Okay, so that's $350 total expenses.
So times that by 12.
How much were we charging for rent?
No, just $350 is your expenses
Okay,
times 12.
$350 times 12 minus 18,000, right?
That's 40. How much is a year?
4,200, and then we said 18,000 was
Yeah.
how much you made.
Mm-hmm. So 18,000
Yeah.
minus the 4,200.
2,400.
No.
18,000.
Oh yeah, you're right. 13,800
Yeah, so 13,800 is your net income.
divided by
What you paid for it,
350,000.
right? Or what you have into it
350,000.
equals.
4% cap rate.
Okay, 4% cap rate. So you'd have to do that math, do that exercise.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm buying this property for 300,000. I put 50,000 into it. I can rent it out for 15,000. These are my expenses. Boom. That now you have your return on your cash.
4% return every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's not calculating like things. That's just straight cash. That's not calculating things like any debt service. So if you took a loan to get that, I mean, so those are factors that everybody has to calculate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
So it would take
to
you
keep
about 25 years to get it back.
there you go. So to keep that like a level playing field, we always factor when we look at deals with no debt service. Okay, so 4%. I mean, that's going to be a pretty steep price to pay.
Yeah.
For that return on your money, in my opinion. I probably, unless it was, but now you say, would you buy that property, Anthony? I would need to know a couple of other things.
How much
What
could
could
it
you
be
get?
worth?
Well, exactly. That's what I would need to know. What could that property double in value in the next 10 years? And this is my only in that area.
Well, let's just say,
That's a good question, though.
yeah, let's just say it's worth now, a year later, how much percentage would we say it increased by?
I mean, real estate on average increases like 3 to 5%. So let's just say 5%.
So now it's 367,500, and then we take out 70% of it because we bury it.
You're not going to burr that. I mean, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to be able to pay off. Oh, I mean, you can pull your money out.
Yeah, cash out, refinance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then you got to see how much. I mean, you go down that. But you go down that rabbit hole, and you can figure everybody's circumstances are different. But that's the idea. Is so you could say I only buy properties that are 10% cap rate. But say that rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
But say that property is worth $600,000. Say it's worth $600,000.
It's
Okay.
worth, yeah.
You know, because it's maybe the rents don't go up, but maybe it's just a really desired area to live in, or for whatever reason it goes up, or say the rents do go up. So you got to look at that property, or say maybe you know something. Maybe you're like, man, they're gonna build that new school over there,
Mm-hmm.
or new college, and they're gonna this place is gonna be like a rental hot zone.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You know, and you could take that and you can get four bedrooms. I can rent out each bedroom at that time for $1,000 a month. So now the $1,500 turns into $4,000 a month.
Pad split.
Pad split it, yeah.
Pad split it.
So yeah, I mean, you got to have some vision to see like, hey, yeah, this is my idea behind it, and I think that's where investors really make their money. A really good investor, anybody could do the numbers and look at it today.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have some vision and go like, this is where the neighborhood's heading, this is where this area is going, this is what it's going to be worth. And I've seen that's where the guys make money.
You're going to be in it for you're going to be there for a long while.
Maybe it's just a couple years, but it takes a little bit more.
No, I mean, like, you're going to be in the investing game for a long while, and you're going to be doing good.
Yeah, I mean, imagine doing, doubling your equity
Mm-hmm.
in 5-10 years. I don't know, if you double my money in 5 or 10 years, you double $350,000, turn it into $7. I think you're doing okay, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, that's where I think you really have to step outside your buy box and really look at all the factors that lay.
I agree. I second all of that.
Yeah. There we go. So, I mean, I go back and I think I love that when people see them vision in it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, this is the end game. Because sometimes you look at people, you're like, really? I've looked at people like that. You're gonna buy that?
We've been looked at like that.
Yeah. They don't know we're building an ADU behind it.
Exactly. I mean, all different types of stuff, and people are willing to. I've even seen clients who are like, they have a vision, and they're like, this is what I'm gonna do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it's good. I think it's good to get a second opinion on your vision. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
second or third with people that you trust, because sometimes, like we say it all the time, we have maybe a way of thinking to. It doesn't even have to be a deal. It could be like a way to handle a certain situation. And we say out loud, hey, I just want to make sure my thinking's in the right here. This is what I plan to do. This is what I plan to tell the seller, the buyer, etc. Is my head in the right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. You got to look at it, because you might. Oh yeah, that looks really good. That exit strategy looks really good, or that advice sounds really good. But then you're like, well, you take in consideration this.
Yeah. And you're like, oh no, I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
yeah.
Oh, dang, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And we do that on all the deals.
Yeah.
That's why you need mentors, or that is also why you should join your local Facebook investment group page, or just anywhere you can. Find if there's any mixers,
Do
or
we have one in Yuma?
we do. we have our Facebook page, which
Oh.
should be going live either today or ready by Monday.
Shameless plug.
What a plug.
Let's go.
Hey, it's important, man. You got to have those mentors. You got to have that community that can help you out.
Very important.
Yeah, and
So what is it called?
it's the REI Yuma, real estate investment or investing.
Investing.
Real estate investing Yuma.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be exciting too because we're
Yeah.
able to get together.
I think it's going to be huge value for the community in Yuma. It's something we don't have. I don't think we have a Facebook group.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you're a wholesaler and you're like, dude, who do I sell these deals to? You know, I've gone on batch leads or props or whatever it is. I've gone on these in places to find out who our buyers are, but I'm not having any luck.
Mm-hmm.
Go to these areas, man. Go to these mixers. Join your local Facebook page or anything you can. Meet those people. What's the word? Network with them, and then you can find the person that can help you. Either you can find somebody who has a deal that
Mhm.
works for you, or you can find the next buyer for one of your properties.
Or learn something so you can find deals.
Yeah.
That's where I really think the value is going to be in the knowledge and when you bouncing ideas off of people.
Oh, and you can ask them what their buy box
Yeah.
is as well. What's your buy box, man? How does it differ from mine? What do you have? That
Yeah,
I
because
don't?
there's even people with a lot of assets that they want, they have the assets but they don't have maybe the energy or they don't have the time,
Oh, true. Very true.
and they want to collaborate with people, and we don't really have that in Yuma to really.
That's true.
Get
I
together.
searched, man. The only reason why we're talking about the Facebook REI Yuma Facebook page is because I looked for one and we don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't one in Yuma. That is insane.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's up to us. We'll go ahead and make it.
Yeah,
We'll make it. We'll create it.
yeah, we're gonna spur that along. So, keep an eye on everybody that's watching on Facebook. Watch for Felix's page. He's gonna put it together, and then we're gonna have monthly meetups.
Yeah, we'll have monthly meetups. I mean, we'll have all kinds of
Yeah,
good stuff in that meetup.
we have all
I mean,
kinds of ideas.
exercises, presentations.
Yep.
I mean, we're gonna come in with a lot of value.
Hosts, sponsors. Yeah,
Sponsors, hosts.
This is for you. So, if you want to know anything, you let us know, man. We are here to help you. We want to see you succeed, because if you succeed, you could be one of our partners, one of our buyers, one of our helpers.
yeah. I mean, there's all different types of benefits to it, but I think the number one thing is have a community.
Mhm.
People know that somebody has their back and wants to see them. Because you can't do every deal. Not one person can do every deal in Yuma.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So
I think you could change somebody's life. I mean, you could go to that meetup and meet somebody, build a relationship that could change your life. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's for you and your family.
That's true.
You learn a lot from those meetups, and a lot of, I think, meetups happen. They don't, depending, like in real estate, there's not that many meetups that happen in Yuma. They did have a Bigger Pockets one. Some of my friends ran that, which is good, and built relationships there that it doesn't it happened to turn into business later, but that wasn't the point. It was talking to people about real estate. It's like that gets a lot of people jazzed up. It's a fun
Yeah.
topic. We love talking about it.
Dude, there's so much in it. Is crazy.
It's just
Yeah.
a fun thing to do. You meet new people, you get new ideas, you build new relationships. It's amazing. I love those
It's
meetups.
a whole new world.
Yeah, people are doing stuff that you're just like, wow, that's a lot of work, but that's working for you, huh? Yeah, that's working for me. And so,
Perfect.
Yeah, like something I found this year, and Anthony, I don't know if you knew this a long time ago, but we have clients that are buying lots and putting mobile homes, like fresh mobile homes on there. And
Oh yeah.
that was new to me this year. I was like, I didn't know that. People, I know people were doing that, but I didn't know people do that, like 1 off, 2 off, 3 off.
It never seemed like it was
It's cool.
sustainable, right? That's why we didn't do it. It never seemed like it would make sense, but there it is.
Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm interested in seeing who shows up. There might be people that have done tons of deals. Maybe we find somebody that does mobile homes, parks, communities,
Yeah.
laundromats, self-storage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got lots, man. We got lots for you.
Yeah.
Lots of lots.
We got lots and lots.
So I'm excited for it, but getting back to the buy box.
Yeah,
situation,
so-
I wanted to.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have a question?
So for flips and stuff, something that makes sense to me that I think, and just in general, like for any type of investing, I would say for like fast ROI, I would say the minimum is like, dude, I got to, at least for it to make sense or for it to be healthy, it needs to be 15% profit. What would you say to that? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
It depends on the amount of work.
Depends on the amount of work.
Work and time. Yeah, if it needs more work and time, then it would need more margin than 15%, 15, 20.
It's interesting. I have a client that actually they love to see the difference in renovation. They love to see the after. Like I could present them a deal. I'm like, you're gonna make money on this, and they know they will. They're like, no, I'll pass. What? What do you mean? No, we're gonna pass because my wife really loves to see the kitchens and put in the the new countertops, and she loves to see that. That's what they love to do.
Oh, so they actually want a property that needs a lot of work.
Yeah, they get that's what they work on. If you tell them, hey, this is an easy property, like you're just exchanging money for money, more money. They're like, no.
It's a part of the process. They like the process.
They love the process. They love the idea of that HGTV feeling where they walk in, and that's cool. I mean, I respect that.
I get that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I respect them for it. And so they'll even ask me, hey, what do you have? Do you have anything? I don't have anything like I do. We have, there's deals for you if you want, but I mean, you can make money, but it's not like, it's not up your box. It's not in his buy box. So
I think those clients of yours are going to go very far because to me, that tells me that's their passion.
Yeah, exactly. They do really good jobs. I mean, when we list those houses for sale, they're all done nicely. They don't cut corners. I really appreciate them for that, keeping their buy box to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, everybody's different, like we talked about, but we just have to respect everybody's goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's people with different buy boxes, and we have opportunities that come across our desk that don't necessarily fit our buy box, but may fit somebody else's buy box. So we try to help out the community here in Yuma and the cities that we play in to help as much as we can,
Yeah, agreed. I want to talk about equity on day one. What does that mean? Because not a lot of people know about that.
Walking into equity?
Well, equity day one. Yep. What do they mean by that?
So if you were to get a property, and typically this happens on, houses you buy through the MLS or that's listed for the public to buy. Typically you're going to get an appraisal, and usually because it's on the market, people are getting the highest value for the property. So they put the offer in. It's usually a home they're going to live in, which is, not a problem, not an investment. So they're going to walk into probably no equity.
Mm-hmm. They're paying exactly for the property is worth.
The maximum usually for what that property, because the seller's like, no, I'm not selling it unless I get the maximum dollar out of it. And the buyer really wants it because that's where they want to live, which is great. And so you're walking into no equity, but walking into equity like day one, that's a beautiful thing. Typically you have to do that off market. You're not going to find, there are some deals that you find on market, but typically it's going to be something that's like, hey, listen, they just want to sell the house, something very convenient. They'll take $200,000. It's worth $250,000.
Oof. That means right off the bat, as soon as you purchase it, you got $50,000 of equity on day one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And no force value, just exactly what it's worth. And so, and that happens more often than you
And
think.
let's even say it needs $25,000 in repairs. You still make those $25,000 in repairs, or 15 or 20. You still got $25,000 left in there of equity.
And typically when you make those repairs or you put that money in there, typically, yeah, it goes higher than the $250,000, so it's worth, at least what you put into it if you invested it correctly.
There you go. So now you got even more. Yeah, now you got 50 plus the 20 that you put in. Now you got 70,000 equity into the property.
And I think a lot of people, I think that's a sleeper. They don't really recognize that equity, because a lot of people they're buying rentals and they don't understand the equity game. Yeah, you might not be making that cash flow, but you have that equity play.
Exactly.
And that's what I really like. I really like the equity, to know I'm secure in the market. If it was to go down 10% and you bought the house at $250,000 and the market's to correct.
No, you bought it at $200,000.
$200,000. The market goes and you thought it was worth $250,000.
Minus 20%.
You're at two.
You're what you got?
$225,000.
$225,000.
Yeah. If it.
No. If it's $250,000, And then if it went down, how much value?
10%. Just say the
10%.
market goes down 10%.
Oh yeah, you're at 225.
Yeah,
You
225.
still got $25,000 in equity.
Right. That's the nice thing. I mean, it's obviously if you buy your house, you know, you're not going to sell it for a long, you know, probably several years. So you don't have to worry about if the market goes down or not. But if you're buying an investment property, buying it at what it's worth is a scary thing, because what if you have to sell it in 6 months, you know, and the market's shifted and it went down.
What if you
25
can't even, yeah, exactly. What if you can't even sell it for what it's worth because nobody's paying for what it's worth right now?
Well-
you're still going to be able to make a little bit of money because you had some equity in it.
Or if that's the situation, I mean, I know people that have done that and they can't even get their money out. They either take the loss or they rent it.
This is a great way to minimize loss.
Absolutely.
Equity on day one,
Yep. Yeah, that's a home run.
which some people don't even look at because they're so strict. Like back to what we were saying, don't pigeonhole yourself in your buy box. Like you got to be able to explore a little bit outside of the bounds, because maybe there's that opportunity and they miss it because because they're too focused on their formula or on something else.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you ask me, my buy box, I'm not so cash flow driven. I definitely want to pay all my expenses. And I would like, you know, on a multifamily, I like to do $100 a door. So if the duplex, I want to cash flow $200 extra beyond whatever my debt service or whatever my expenses are. I want to cash flow $200 on a duplex. So $100 a door. Single family, I wanted to do 200, you know, for that property.
That's how much you want to net profit.
Yeah, I want to put that away for, you know, repairs, future repairs, for unexpected repairs and maintenance and stuff like that. So that's my buy box on cash flow. I mean, I definitely want to make, you know, but sometimes I'll take it if it's cash flow and just breaking even, but I got a lot of equity. I love equity in properties. I think, to me, if the property's paying for itself, but I have a bunch of equity, I think I'm a happy guy. I'm going to look at that investment pretty heavily.
I want to do a quick check. Bridges, what's our time? How much time we're doing so far?
We're at 42 minutes and 15 seconds.
Not bad, guys. We talked pretty good about buy boxes.
Yeah. No, it's been good. It's been fun.
I agree 100%. What's your buy box now that you've listened to this?
Since I've listened to this, well, I think it's the same. I think, to be honest with you, I think, but there's a lot to.
But that's good, because that means he's solid on what he knows works for him.
Yeah. I think it's the same. I think equity is important. I think, you know, cash flow is good too. Some people love cash flow, which is great. You know, they'll take low equity and just focus on the cash flow.
We've seen people overpay.
Yeah, they pay over what the property's worth just because it brings in cash flow, and that's their thing. You know, we like equity.
Yeah, and so, and we respect everybody's different opinions. We hear them all the time. We talk to investors. We pitch them an idea. No, it doesn't hit this or that. That's you know, that's what works for them and their family. With like more power to them. You know, we just move on.
Buy boxes, explore the options, and don't be afraid to step out of bounds sometimes.
Jump outside your box.
Jump outside your box. Yep, I agree with that. Well, I think that was pretty good. We didn't talk about every single buy box, but the things that we were talking about, like the basics, I think lay a very good foundation on how to figure out your type of buy box and what to look out for.
Yeah, and if anybody, you know, has questions about how they could expand their box, or if they're not finding the properties, or they need help defining what works for them, you know.
Ooh, drop down your buy box at the end of the podcast, and we can rate it for you at the next episode.
There you go.
That would be so cool. If you could drop your buy box and we could tell you what we think. Ooh, you know what? That's pretty solid. Or we would change this, or this is what we would do.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. All
All right,
right,
well, fellas.
This is Next Level Home Buyers. We don't buy properties. We buy problems.
We're getting better at that, huh?